didn't come into the courtroom yelling or threatening anyone. He didn't fight the officers or make a scene. Alexander Ortiz walked in the way most defendants do. Quiet, contained, pretending the walls didn't feel like they were closing in. But courtrooms have a strange way of becoming pressure cookers. And grief is the one emotion that doesn't care about rules, warnings, or the sound of a judge's gavel. It hits when it wants, how it wants, and when it landed inside this courtroom, it turned a routine hearing into one of the wildest eruptions the transcript captures. Alexander Ortiz, the courtroom that exploded into war. Ortiz had already been charged with 2 murders. His ex-girlfriend Aliana Farfan, shot in an Albuquerque apartment in 2024, and Nicole Maldonado, who was killed just 6 days later after Ortiz allegedly walked up to a parked car at the Adam Food Market and fired 3 shots into the back seat. Surveillance footage matched the account. Witnesses confirmed the approach. Maldonado died soon after. So this court appearance? It was supposed to be basic procedure. No fireworks, no drama. Just another date on a crowded docket. But pain doesn't schedule itself. The transcript shows the moment everything snapped. As Ortiz stood before Judge Cindy Leos, a man in the gallery suddenly lunged forward and vaulted over the courtroom barrier like he'd waited his entire life for that one leap. Ortiz heard the footsteps behind him and spun around just as the attacker's shadow closed in. The officer standing behind Ortiz moved instantly. The attorney in front staggered backward, and chaos hit the room like a bomb. Another man from the gallery threw open the wooden door and chased Ortiz off camera. A third man, someone on Ortiz's side, jumped in to protect him, turning the scene into a full-scale brawl. Then 2 women, fueled by pure devastation, rushed in and joined the fight. You could see the grief radiating off them like heat. Within seconds, the room became unrecognizable. People clawed, grabbed, choked, tackled. An officer struggled to keep a taser drawn. One attacker refused to back down, even with a weapon aimed directly at him. Reinforcements stormed in and finally pushed the crowd apart. Ortiz was removed. The attackers were detained, and the transcript captures the truth. The men who attacked Ortiz were Aliana Farfan's stepfather and uncle, and when asked afterward whether it was worth it, the uncle said it was worth every moment. The courtroom didn't just witness a crime case, it witnessed a family shatter in real time, and another family in another state was about to do the same. Zyderrious Platt. The brother who couldn't sit and watch the name spelled correctly in the transcript, Zyderrious Platt, and the case behind it, almost too heavy to read. In October 2009, 26-year-old Galani Platt disappeared. She had argued with her husband that night, and when investigators pushed him, Zyderrious eventually led police to a pond outside the city, a quiet stretch of water that hid a terrible truth. Jelani had been shot in the head, she was pregnant, and the man accused, her husband, was now in court, preparing for trial. But the transcript shows that the trial never even started before the room exploded. As soon as Zyderrious entered, Galani's brother, Gerald Carter, locked eyes with him. You can feel the tension even without audio. A man who lost his sister, his unborn niece or nephew, his sense of normalcy, frozen in place, staring at the person he believed stole everything. And then he leapt. Gerald hurdled the courtroom barrier with one motion, sprinting at Zyderrious with a force that didn't look human. Officers collided with him mid-air, dragging him to the ground as he screamed, "Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!" Zyderrious was rushed out, but Gerald wasn't letting go of the rage pulsing through him. He twisted on the ground, trying to break free, ignoring every order. "Calm down! Stay down! Don't get up!" None of it mattered. He tried to rise again and again, until officers pulled out a taser and warned, "Taser, taser, taser!" Even then, he fought. Pinned, held against the floor, his voice broke through every command as he yelled, "My sister didn't deserve it. I want to kill him. I want to kill him." It took multiple officers to cuff him. It took even longer for the room to breathe again. And later, when the trial resumed without incident, Zyderrious Platt was found guilty of murder and feticide. The courtroom had calmed down, but the damage, the emotional blast, had already carved itself into every witness who watched it. A second courtroom destroyed by grief. The third, destroyed by someone who turned his violence on the one person trying to help him. William Green. The punch that changed court procedure forever. Fort Lauderdale, a magistrate hearing. Rows of inmates waiting their turn, attorneys flipping through files, everything operating on routine gears. Among them sat William Green, already charged with assaulting a caregiver at a mental health hospital. His attorney that day was Assistant Public Defender Julie Chase, standing beside him, representing him as required by law. And then, without warning, Green stood, turned, and punched her in the side of the head so hard she collapsed instantly. The room froze. You could feel the shock ripple through the transcript itself. Deputies slammed Green to the floor while other inmates stared, stunned at how fast he snapped. Lawyers rushed toward Chase, who lay on the ground in pain but conscious. The judge ordered order. Officers secured the room. And Green only then seemed to realize what he had done. Chase was taken to the hospital and released later that day, thankfully without permanent injury. But the aftermath changed court security across the board. From that day forward, every inmate in that jurisdiction appeared handcuffed and seated far from the podium during hearings. Green received 2 more assault charges. He was transferred to another mental health facility, and the courtroom, like the 2 before it, was left shaken. 3 defendants. 3 detonations of emotion. 3 rooms where loss, fear, and anger overpowered procedure. But what these cases all remind us is that justice doesn't unfold in a vacuum. It unfolds among families, trauma, buried rage, and moments where the human heart refuses to sit quietly behind a wooden railing. Courtrooms are supposed to be controlled spaces, places where emotion is held back by rules, where justice is measured, not thrown, punched, or chased. But these cases prove that sometimes the human heart shows up louder than the law. A father's grief becomes a fist. A brother's heartbreak becomes a war cry. A defendant's instability becomes an attack no one expected. And in the middle of it all, judges continue speaking the same words. Order in the court. But order is fragile, and humanity is messy. If you want more real courtroom stories, more cases where emotion collides with justice, more moments caught on camera that reveal what people become when they're pushed too far, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment about which case shocked you most, and tell me which courtroom moment you want to see next. Justice may be calm on paper, but inside these rooms it's anything but.